Hey, it's Bibiana and welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, you are welcome. So I'm really excited, guys, as I start this pregnancy update series going through each and every week of pregnancy. Now, if you're not aware what this series is about, I will leave a link to the introduction video for what's going to be going on, and I will also put some timestamps below as well so you know what is involved in each and every weekly update. Now, I'm currently pregnant, as many of you know, with baby number 4, and so these updates are actually going to include my experience both in this pregnancy and previous pregnancies as well, including the twins, and hopefully that should provide some encouragement, some advice, some tips, and opportunity for community as well as we go along this journey together. So let's talk about week 1 of pregnancy. So if you just found out you're pregnant and you think you're in that first week, congratulations, but you might need to skip along a few more weeks because you are actually further along than you think you are. And that's because in the first week of pregnancy, you're technically not pregnant yet. Say what? That's because week 1 of pregnancy actually starts from the first day of your last menstrual period. So in week 1, you're actually on your period. This is pre-ovulation, pre-fertilization. This week of pregnancy is actually really important for those of you who are trying to conceive on that TTC journey, like I've been quite a few times. And even though you're not technically pregnant in week 1, it could represent your last period for a pretty long time, about 9 months if you successfully get pregnant. So what I want to do in this video, in this series, is actually share what I did intentionally each and every single week. Also what I did, spiritually, emotionally, and physically to improve my chances of getting pregnant and for a healthy pregnancy too. So I've talked about what the science and the books say occurs at week 1, but I want to talk to you as a mum and keeping it real. How was I feeling at week 1? Were there any symptoms? Now, week 1 of pregnancy, like I said, you're not technically pregnant yet. So any symptoms that you have are going to be related more to your period than anything else. So I do have quite a few uncomfortable symptoms during my period. I get the cramps. I do occasionally get headaches as well, and it can be a little bit moody because our hormones are all over the place, and obviously the bleeding too. So that's pretty much what I was experiencing. But in terms of how I was feeling as well, in week 1, when I was actively trying to conceive in some pregnancies, obviously at this point I'm very intentional about knowing when my period's coming, noting that down. Initially they were very regular, but now they're not so regular, like many women. So if you're like that, you are not alone. So this week is obviously quite exciting because I'm thinking, okay, this marks the beginning of my pregnancy journey. I'm a little bit anxious as well and still feeling not too great because I'm on my period as well. But keep in mind, there's been other times where that period happening was not what I was expecting. And what I mean is we've been trying the previous month, and so I didn't expect to have a period. I've had experience where I've got pregnant very easily, and I probably would say that was more so the twins, my first pregnancy. Kind of just had the same assumptions with my following pregnancy. So when it didn't happen so easily and you're trying month after month after month, it can be really disheartening when that period comes along, especially when you get those period symptoms as well, which can mimic pregnancy symptoms. Those times I mistook those crampy feelings for me actually being pregnant, but it wasn't, because my period came along. I really thought, it should be like the first pregnancy. Is there something wrong with me? And just the general fear and anxiety that can build up during that journey. So as hard as it is, I just remind myself, God always has a plan, and it wasn't his plan for that cycle, that last month, to be the month I got pregnant. But you bet I'm believing and walking by faith that this month, if it's his will, then it will happen, and I'm going to be just as excited about this new cycle and the potential pregnancy that could occur. And I'm clocking this as week 1 by faith. And so that's what I would just encourage you with. It can be a very emotional road, and it was for me. So next I want to talk about a pregnancy checklist, and I will include a checklist for each and every single week of pregnancy specific to that week. So even though you are not pregnant in week 1, it's never too early to start acting like you are. So what I mean is, by this week of pregnancy, I was making sure I was taking prenatal vitamins, and especially taking things like folic acid. It's recommended to take 400 micrograms daily up until about 12 weeks, and this is just going to reduce any risk of birth defects and just provide a healthy brain and spinal development for baby. And there are some prenatal vitamins options for men as well. One thing I was really intentional about doing before getting pregnant was speaking to my doctor and going through any of my medication to see if it could have any effect on my chances of conceiving. I had been seeing a dermatologist, so I told the doctor what I've been taking, and he did advise changing that prescription, and so that was something I did end up changing. Stop any unhealthy habits like smoking. Alcohol is something that is always advised not to take during pregnancy or while you're trying to conceive, and excessive caffeine. Now this one was hard for me because I do like my caffeine. Tracking your cycle to pinpoint your most fertile days. This is obviously a lot easier if you have a more regular cycle. Testing for any inherited blood disorders like sickle cell and thalassemia. And this one I found quite important to look at, especially in my community where there's maybe a higher percentage, and also if you just have anyone in the family who has any of these inherited blood disorders. And this is something even my husband and I checked beforehand to have a blood test to see if we were carriers, and it just helps us make a more informed decision before actually getting pregnant of how we want to proceed on our family planning journey. Definitely one of my favorite ones. This is something I recommend for every week of pregnancy, is to have a pregnancy journal. And in here, for me, it's proved helpful, especially just on those emotional stages in pregnancy. Let's be real, there's times when you're completely excited, and there'll be weeks where, anxiety might kick in, and it's just really nice to just have somewhere where you can write down your emotions. And especially for me, I've been putting like prayer affirmations and scriptures. So next I'm going to talk about a belly update. I'm not going to show you my belly now because obviously I'm well beyond the weeks of this video, but also by this week of pregnancy, and to be honest, the first few weeks of pregnancy, there's not much changing down there. I would say for me at this particular week, I just found I was a little bit bloated. It's definitely not a baby bump, it's more like a bloated bump right now. Or I've heard it called a plump. So as a believer, as a Christian, it was really important for me to always seek God's wisdom and guidance on each and every area of my life, and also a pregnancy as well is really important. So this is again where the handy little pregnancy journal comes in handy, as each and every week I had different scriptures I was meditating on, prayer points I had for that week of pregnancy. So I'm going to share with you one of the ones I used for this particular week, which is week 1, and I really hope it encourages those of you as well who are trying to conceive. And that was Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, and it says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." And for me, that was just really encouraging as I aligned my desires to conceive with God's promises. That's just one of them because I have quite a few for each week of pregnancy, but I would love for you to share some of your favorite ones down below in the comments that you find encouraging and helpful during pregnancy. So finally, I do want to mention a really great opportunity for you to connect with me and other mums, especially mums who are probably on the same week as you and similar journey as you of pregnancy, and that is by me sharing with you a Facebook group that I've set up. It's a private group, it's a free group, and it's just a really great way for you to connect with other moms, other like-minded moms, as we discuss faith and motherhood together. And I just hope it's a way for you also to be able to connect. I mean, feel free to comment down below, and I'm sure wherever you comment, if you're watching any weekly video, someone else will be a similar week as you. So I'd love for you guys to connect not only online but offline as well. I didn't really want to mention too much about the whole COVID pandemic that we're in, because I'm currently pregnant in a pandemic, and who knows, hopefully this will be well and truly over later on. But I think now more than ever, a lot of us might be feeling very alone in pregnancy. So I really want you to take this opportunity to connect with other moms and really trying to work on something that ultimately serves you, because I know what it was like in every pregnancy, being a first-time mum, even after having my third. I really just hope it's a place where you can connect with other mums and talk everything about faith and how you're feeling and just the practical things during pregnancy and labor and preparation. Not only from me, I would definitely be in that group, and I would try and do some lives as well, but also from other mums, even more seasoned mothers than myself. And I just hope it's just going to build a really nice community where you feel and know that you are never alone on this motherhood journey. So I will leave a link down below, and I would love for you to join. Well, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Please be sure to like, comment, share your thoughts down below. I'd love to connect with you there. Share this video for anyone else you feel would find it helpful, and subscribe. And be sure to come back for the next week's update, which will be week 2, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.
I wanna be real with you. Whom have I to impress? You show me